Welcome to my film review of A Dog's Journey. Now, this wasn't a movie that I was necessarily expecting to go to the cinema to see, to be honest, because I had a feeling it might make me cry. And who the hell wants to go to a cinema to cry in public? So, but I just so happened to go because it fit in with a bunch of other movies that I was trying to see. Whenever I go to the cinema, I try and see as many as possible, so I might see at least two or three while I'm there. So, A Dog's Journey fit in, went to see it, and what I'm going to say to you is don't see it at the cinema. Simple. These reviews are all about not spoiling what happens, but ultimately letting you know what's worth paying your hard-earned bucks to go to the cinema to see, and what you're better off just wait until it comes out on TV or catching it on Netflix slash whatever your service is that you use to consume your videos at home. I'm guessing you don't rent them from Blockbuster anymore, for any of you old enough to know what Blockbuster is. But anyway, back to the point. So this movie is absolutely 100% not worth going to the cinema to see. Basically, there's just no need to see this movie at the cinema. This is your classic sit at home, watch it with the kids, family movie, around Christmas, around the holidays, whatever. You sit down as a family and you watch it together. That's the kind of movie, if you've got young kids. And I think that's basically who this movie is aimed at. Now, I'm not going to say I didn't enjoy it, because I did, but the parts I enjoyed more was the storyline parts that didn't necessarily involve the dog so much. So it's counterintuitive to the reason why I would want to see this movie in the first place. I'm a huge dog lover. I mean, who isn't? Well, not everyone is, but I'm a huge dog lover. Dogs are absolutely everything to me. And if you've seen the movie before this, what was it? A Dog's Purpose. Now, I've not seen that. Believe it or not, I still haven't even watched it at home. When my sister told me what it was about, I was like, what? I was like, I don't fancy watching that. So you'll know what I mean if you've seen it. And it was very difficult to watch, especially in the cinema, especially in public place, So for me, that isn't an appealing thing, to go to the cinema and experience that kind of a movie. So let's discuss the whole dog element, because when Marley and Me came out, I was like, my God, this is like awesome. Why aren't there more dog movies made? And I guess maybe there is Snow Dogs, a few spring to mind, but not many. These are the movies that spring to mind for me when I think of dog movies. Turner and Hooch, K9, Marley and Me. All three of those are among my favourite ever movies. And because they involve a dog, because the dog is cute as hell, and because it's a really good movie that incorporates a dog, rather than it trying to be a movie that's all about a dog. And where A Dog's Journey is different, for those of you old schoolers like me that remember Look Who's Talking was exactly like A Dog's Journey, but it was a baby instead of a dog. So Look Who's Talking is a cutesy little baby, and the whole time the narration is what the baby might be thinking. Okay, and it's funny. It was good. It was brilliant. In fact, it worked. Look Who's Talking made a sequel. They're both good. Great movies. They worked. But with a dog movie, what I like about a dog movie is the same thing I like about owning a dog. It's looking at the dog's face, looking into the dog's eyes, reading its body language, and in your own head deciding what that dog is thinking. And trust me, what you think in your head is loads funnier and loads cuter than what Disney could ever tell you. All Disney do is point out the obvious, and it's just not funny. I remember, there was probably meant to be, I think this was supposed to be a comedy. I'm pretty sure it was meant to be a comedy. And my God, no one laughed in the cinema. No one laughed at all. It just wasn't funny. Like the most obvious joke in the world, and when you say it, you're like, huh, yeah, good one. Good one, yeah. And that's what it was like. Maybe the little kids that are like 3 years old might have giggled and gone, but a human being with any kind of intelligence, I'm afraid, just wouldn't find these kind of jokes funny. So I'm sorry to slate this movie. And don't get me wrong, it's worth watching. I'm talking from a cinema point of view. You absolutely do not want to pay to see this at the cinema, But by all means, give it a watch at home. Once it's free on Netflix, that's the kind of time that you want to watch it. You don't want to pay to see this movie. Definitely not. It's just another movie that involves dogs. You know, like your Snow Dogs and stuff like that, where it's not really a great movie, but because you love dogs, you get a kick from it. But what I did actually like about this movie was the subject matter that was being covered. Ignoring the fact that there was a dog involved, there was a family, and their family dynamics was covered in this movie, and it was quite touching and quite moving at times, and quite sad. The things that happened to this family, forgetting the dog and nothing to do with the dog, just the family. And if they'd have made a movie just about that and really dug deep and got into the nitty gritty of it, I think it was brilliant. It was to do with, you've got daughter, mother, and grandparents, and how the dynamics between the three worked, and that was brilliant. I really enjoyed that part of the movie. But the bits that involved the dog were just a little bit too like one for the toddlers, ha ha ha, yeah, good one. And all you were really doing was seeing a dog on screen. Well, I could go online and look at pictures of dogs, or look at my own dog. So what you were getting out of the movie was some ridiculous monologue being put in the dog's head that just, it was poor. Absolutely poor, I'm afraid. So I hope that's helped you understand what this movie is about. Unfortunately, it is hugely disappointing as a dog movie. But if you liked A Dog's Purpose, then I think this is in line with that. So I think you will love, if you like The Dog's Purpose, there's no reason why you won't like this. And I'm not saying you're not going to like this and don't watch this, but just do not go to the cinema to see it, Don't pay to see this movie. See it when you get to see it for free. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to hurt you if it takes a couple of years before you get to see it. So yeah, chill beans on this one, and don't rush out and spend any money on this. See something else. See something better. See something worth going to the cinema for. Because regardless of whether you want to go to the cinema for this kind of a emotional, tearjerker, whether you want to cry or not, sort of thing. There's no cinematography. There's no spectacular scenes or anything that really mean, wow, you've got to see this at the cinema, or it's just not, to see it properly. It's not at all. There's no scenes like that at all. It's just perfectly feasible to watch it on the small screen. It's not going to affect you. And there was actually some good subject matter covered, in all fairness, though, with this movie. And it involved, there was an element of illness, where the dog had a little bit of to do with illness. That's all I'm going to say. And that was brilliant. I love that. Dogs serving a real purpose and helping human beings with their super skills. I love that. I've been saved by a dog who wasn't trained to save lives. He just figured it out for himself that he needed to save me from the sea. And when you have experiences like that, it's mind-blowing. And there's that, a little bit of that is covered in the movie. So there was a lot in this movie that I liked. If it was a movie that wasn't focused on being about dogs, but just had a dog in it, this would be a cracker of a movie. But the way they've put it together is half of this, some of it works, some of it doesn't, regarding the dog, and then the bit of the movie that isn't focused on the dog, a lot of that really works, but there's not enough follow through on that storyline because you're trying to make it all about the dog. So good and bad about this movie. But ultimately, you don't need to see it at the cinema. You don't need to rush to see this movie. And you probably want to watch A Dog's Purpose first, I would guess, maybe. I don't know. I didn't watch them in that order. I still haven't seen A Dog's Purpose. So I hope that's helped you understand your need to not see this movie right now at the cinema, and to in fact go and see something better instead, like Avengers, etc. Okay, so there's a lot coming out of the movie. Stay tuned for some reviews. I'll get them out to you as soon as I see the movie. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Hope you found it useful. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next review. Goodbye.